Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be discovering with you a new way of doing continental. For some of you may have heard this before. This is the way my grandma used to knit, and a good friend of mine, Irina Shar at Fiber Chats, reintroduced me to this method. And I want to show a slightly different way of how I hold my yarn in relation to this method. She shows a very tight to the needle sort of way, but I've learned to like to hold my yarn around my hand like this because I like the feel of the wool between my fingers. And you might like to enjoy this as well. I'll also show a secondary method that I like to use, but I'll just show you exactly how I scoop with my pinky, wrap it around my hand twice, and this gives enough tension because you can expand or contract your hand to loosen or tighten the fabric. And I find that useful to get tighter gauge with continental, as sometimes people complain that continental gives too loose a gauge. But I like this control of the yarn wrapped around my hand because I can use the movement of my hand to tighten the stitches, as I was saying. So Grandma's method goes into the back of the stitch to knit, and some would, as Irina clearly stated, it's not twisting the stitches if you purl differently. So just to give you an example, I'll turn it around, and to purl, all you're doing is tucking under. I'll have to undo this later because typically you don't turn around middle of the row, but you just bring it along, right, tucking it under, and it's very fast and efficient with very little movement. You could say it's a little bit of pistoning, but as compared to some of the other methods of knitting, which I won't name because I don't acknowledge them fully, but maybe this will give you a little hint to come over to the dark side and try some continental. Or you could say the light side, because for me this is reminding me of my grandmother. My mother was trying to show me how she knits, and she's mostly a crocheter, and she was tucking the yarn under as I was just showing you in the purl. And I said, no, Mom, that's wrong. You gotta pull the yarn over top of the needle before you pull it through. And she didn't quite get it, and then I realized that her mom had taught her. I didn't have the privilege of learning from my grandma, but my mom did. And she doesn't do much knitting, but the little that she did know, I was surprised, is this method that Irina has been sharing with us all. So I hope this is one way for you to enjoy learning to get to know continental. If you'd like to learn how to do it the other way of holding the yarn, I just wrap around my pinky and over the hand like that. I'll show that one more time. Around the pinky, over the hand. And if you can keep that tension between your pinky and ring finger strong, then you can also have that same tension. And into the back of the stitch. You'll notice that purling under like that allows the orientation to move from west to east to west, as she described. So you just go in the back, because you change your orientation when you purl the other way. So it's really cool, and I find I'm moving at a fairly slow pace as it is now, but some would even call this fairly quick. But as you get used to it, you'll find that you will experiment with the way you hold your yarn and not just get pigeonholed into one way. I like this between the pinky just as much as having it wrapped around my hand. And sometimes I'll just even switch mid-row just to give myself some variety and focus and in my attention at the knitting. So Thank you for listening today. Hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.